Here we go. One of my first AR builds that I did all on my own. So let's talk about what is familiar. We have my old lower here, the new Frontier Armory. This is a very entry-level product. It was like $100 when it was originally bought. I don't think they even make them anymore. But it's basically plastic. Not even fiberglass, it's like plastic. But now installed, I have the 75th anniversary Timney trigger, which is pretty nice. It's not top shelf, but it is a very nice trigger. I think it's a 3-pound pull that is set at. Bushnell optics, the Match Pro, so that is a 50mm objective lens with a 30mm tube, mil dot adjustments, and did I say 6-24 zoom? First focal plane, that's what I'm forgetting. Weaver mount for the upper. This is the Aero Precision Enhanced with the corresponding enhanced quantum rail. So very interesting. But what do we have for our barrel? I went with a custom barrel, McGowen Precision, chambered in 223 Wild, 1-8 twist. This is a 20-inch stainless steel barrel. I did not get it polished, so this is just machine finished. And it also has a rifle length gas system with the Superlative Arms adjustable gas block. So there's some aspects of this that are definitely cost a pretty penny, but I wouldn't say this is top tier. I would say this is probably mid tier. This McGowen Precision, like this is a button rifled barrel, but they hand lap it. So really, I mean, I'm hoping that it's about on par with something you would get from Criterion. There we go. That's the price range I'm looking for. But we'll find out. And what do we have for ammo? We are using hand loads today. And we're going by something that's fairly safe and something that I know that works. So this is, again, 223 Remington, speer 52 grains in Lapua brass, propelled by XMR 4064. We're going from 24 grains all the way up to 24.4 and 0.1 grain increments. So very safe. You'll notice that I have them grouped into two here. That's because we're using two sets of primers, two different primers, I should say. We have Remington 7.5 bench rest and then CCI 41. My Shaw Custom was very sensitive to primers, especially when compared to my original upper, which was Bear Creek Arsenal. That was the first upper I bought, just getting into the platform. So now we're upping our game, we're building our own, we're having fun. But we're going to see how things go. I do have some interesting bore scope. As I'm sitting here setting up, focus. Those are a couple woodchucks or groundhogs just kind of grazing on the range. They're either very smart or very brave, nowhere in between. Anyway, I still have to set up targets, so I'm going to go do that, and I'm going to scare them off so we don't make them deaf. Not going to use them for target practice. But anyway, let's get to shooting. Oh yeah, almost forgot. Nickel-Boron bolt carrier group. So I had to stop and take a short little video for posterity. So this, I mean, that's a little bit more substantial than a light primer strike. But right now, this is 24.3 grains, and we have a 3-shot group that's doing really good. It's probably about a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to load this back in, and we're going to see how things go. Gents, while we're waiting for my barrel to cool down, let's go ahead and go over some groups. So this is for the CCI primers. And we're only doing 4-shot groups with this one, because the other ones were going to be used for sighters, or fowlers, however you want to word it. Anyway, so minimum charge, 24 grains. Whoa, let me stop myself there. Minimum charge that I used, 24 grains. You can see here, kind of a nice sight group, then one off to the left. And we see that we have just kind of a general pattern where overall shift to the left, but we have a little bit of double grouping. They kind of mirror each other there. And then over here, the 4th shot is right there, barely overlapping, But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see the barrel must have been moving over to the left because that's where things decide to group, on the extreme left. Then we kind of find a middle ground here where we have 1, 2, 3 right there. The 4th shot, I'm going to have to edit it in. I had issues with a primer, so I don't know exactly what was up there. I just know that it took multiple strikes and finally it went off. So this is what we have. Small amount of vertical, but that's about a 1/2 inch group. And then the maximum charge, it's staying within that kind of point to impact area. However, it's opening up again. So this is kind of where we want to be. And if I remember right, with my Shaw barrel, it was similar. I think it was the second to last group that ended up being one of the more accurate. I'll have to double check, so don't quote me on that. Anyway, so I'm going to let my barrel cool off a little bit more, and then I'm going to go on to the Remington primers, again with XMR 4064. Okay, so let's go over the groups for the Remington. Ignore these ones. That's just, those are my Fowlers. Those are what I use to kind of warm up the barrel, just to make sure everything is functioning as it should. So, the minimum charge, rather the minimum charge that we used, 24 grains. Not bad, basically about 1 inch. It opens up a bit, but you can see the barrel does seem to be trending down and to the left. Oops, sorry for the wind. I'll shift my position so hopefully it's not too bad. Anyway, we return to form here. Almost looks like we got double grouping with this one thrown out the top. So, yeah, I just don't know there. Here, more of this double grouping and the barrel shifts down. And then here we got vertical stringing pretty much across the board, and again we're throwing one out the top here. So that does seem to be a trend. I don't think it's me, I think it is harmonics. Overall, I think that comparing the two sets, all the strings, I think the Remington primers did shoot better, which is interesting because with my Shaw upper, it was definitely the opposite. That upper did not like the Remington primers in general. But yeah, look, about 1 inch, a little over, about 1 inch, about 1 inch, maybe just slightly over. This one's definitely our worst group of the day at like 2 inches. But up here, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, a little over 1 inch, a little over 1 inch. This is our best group of the day, but it's only a 3-shot group. And the only reason why I have some confidence here is that the point to impact is similar to the next charge up, which is only 0.1 grains. And also the group looks very similar to this one. We got that verticality going on there. So I do have some confidence here, but I also don't like that it's really too vertical. But we'll have to take a picture with Range Buddy to see if that actually is 1/2 inch or not. Probably a little bit over. Anyway, so there we go. My McGowen Precision barrel, not bad. Okay, so we're out here at the 100-yard mark. One thing I forgot to mention about that is that it is a HBAR contour, so it's a heavy barrel. So let's go over this matrix load development here. This is just something quick, simple, something I can do in one range trip, so that's why I like doing them. I've gone over these before. This is something that bench rest shooters like to do because they buy barrels in batches and they have a known working load. But they need to fine-tune that load from barrel to barrel or over the barrel's life. This is one thing they can quickly do. I did 5-shot groups, but sometimes some people do it as low as 2-shot groups, but that's a different subject. Anyway, so we're going from powder charge, lowest to highest, to seating depth, lowest to highest. So here we go. This is going to be 22.5, almost at 23.5. 22.5 grains of Reloder 15 at 2.240. That's not bad. And we'll go ahead and call that at about 1 inch group. We got some double grouping going on here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I don't want to call it vertical stringing. This, I'll go ahead and I'll call a vertical string, but you can see here it's kind of nice and lined up. There is a shift at the point impact left. The only thing we did is we changed the seating depth by 10 thousandths. And then again, over here, seating depth 20 thousandths from our starting, and the point impact is just moving left, it looks like. I'm fair with calling these pretty much all the same. Overall, there is some verticality going on here, which some people might find desirable, and they are a little bit more vertical than they are horizontal, so maybe not the best group for taking out past 300 yards or 500, however long I want to take this platform out to. Anyway, next charge up. So this is 23 grains. That's a half grain increase. So that's a big jump for 223 Remington. And you can see generally the groups are worse. And we can see that the general trend is that things are a little bit more to the left, but also a little bit higher in terms of point to impact. A lot of horizontalness there, still some there, but things are forming back up. So just in general, 23 grains did not work out the best. Let's go to our max charge. This, it's easy to say this looks worse, but really I bet you if we were to measure the end-to-end accuracy or precision of these would be generally a little bit better than the ones up here. I don't know, those two might be similar. I'm kind of going off the cuff here, but I don't like the way these look. Like, these strike me as more erratic. However, one thing I'm noticing here is that you have a group of 4 and then an outlier. Kind of a group of 4 and then an outlier. There's some horizontal stringing going on here. And here we definitely see the horizontal stringing with an outlier there. But at least things are kind of shaping up. So overall, really what I would pull out of all of this is that the lightest charge is definitely the best in general for this gun, because not only was it the most tolerant to the seating depth, but also it just was the tightest group overall, consistently tightest group. So in other words, highest precision, we can go ahead and say. Those are some pretty interesting shifts to the point to impact though, just for changing the seating depth. There's more to read into it from there. But beyond that, I'm not really seeing anything else major to really make note on. I could probably, take a picture, go back to the bench, really mull over it. I'm not sure how much of that's worth the time, but definitely this 22.5, I think that's a good place to be. I don't know how fast this is going though, because anything past this 23.5 grains, that's where I start to get compressed loads with my rounds, and I get inconsistent seating depth, and so it's not worth it. So this is, I would say this powder bullet combination is good for, well, what I'm doing here basically is plinking a good 100, 200 yard load, nothing major. But if you're looking for something for serious performance or competition, I think you might want to look at a different powder combination. I did not know there was other people out here at the range, so that gunshot actually kind of made me worry. Anyway, let's pack things up. Let's head out. So overall, yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this barrel with its initial testing. We have a lot more to do though. This is where we talk about the ugly. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I've recently bought one of those basic test-long bore scopes, and I love it. It's probably the best $50 investment I've made in my hobby so far recently. Why? Well, have a look at this. First, I've included some pictures of the grooves and the lands, and things look great. Another picture shows the drilled gas port, and that looks great too. It did manage to nick a land, but this is a 6-groove barrel, so basically that's unavoidable. But the real thing to have a look at here is the free bore, and I took a video of this. If you've ever looked at a chamber spec drawing or talked with someone about the differences between 223 Remington, 5.56 NATO, or 223 Wild, you get the spiel about chamber dimensions, especially with that free bore area. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but take a close look at this video. The rifling of the bore in some areas travels through the free bore to the neck of the chamber. I have no clue what would cause this. At first I thought that the chamber might be cut at an angle, but there's nothing that indicates that. The fired brass I've taken out, I measured, it's not cattywampus, it is straight. It's perfectly fine. Just somehow some of the leads and the rifling of the bore are still in the free bore. I guess I could technically say I don't have a free bore area, or that it's only half there. I don't know. I'm not an expert. If you guys want input on it, I will gladly hear it, because as I'm learning, so too all of you, right? Anyway, so let's talk about the real ugly. I reached out to McGowen about this strange defect, whatever you want to call it, but I reached out by email through their main contact line. That's what they tell you to do on their website. And I still have yet to hear back from them. And actually, it's been a total of 6 weeks now. I sent off the original correspondence. I followed through after a couple weeks, and another one. And yeah, it's been 6 weeks. However, now to be fair to them, just the other day, I found their Facebook page, and for curiosity's sake, because I'm a tinker, that's what I do, I sent them a message to their Facebook page, and they responded. And so right now, I've sent off additional correspondences. I have questions, I've sent them photos, I've sent them videos. I'm just waiting a reply back, but it's only been just a little bit. But still, in totality, it's been 6 weeks. Again, if you guys have been following my channel at all, I have received another barrel from another company that I'll be doing a separate video on, but their turnaround time, 1 week. I sent them correspondence, I sent them videos, they asked me to send them the barrel. I did, they looked at it, and I think in exactly 1 week, I had another barrel back in my hands and I was reinstalling it into the upper. So I feel confident, with all that said, continuing to make this video with this information available. In some ways, I feel like it's not being fair to McGowen because there isn't the full resolution of the situation at hand. But on the flip side, it's been quite a while, and I had to send a Facebook message to get a reply back from the company. And also, what is up with that chamber?